Hi everyone and welcome to a new video. Now, as some of you may know, I recently wrote or took my final for the semester, the past semester in art history, and with this video I wanted to share some of my tips or how I studied for this test because it was quite a large workload for that specific test. In total we had to study around 540 pages worth of text, as well as around 450 art pieces. And I thought, now that I know that my learning has been successful as I got my results in, I thought it might be helpful for anyone who is either also studying art history or is studying in a field where there is a large amount of text. So you can maybe come back to this video or like apply it to whenever you need it. This is not just, as I said, for art history, but for studying with a big amount of text in general. Some things are specific to my university, but I will try to apply it to a more general studying, so you can work your way through. So as I said, we had to read about 540 pages worth of text, meaning we had a topic or subject for every class session, and leading up to that class session or after, depending on what you prefer, I always did it before, you had to read about 3 to 6 texts. That could be all texts about a topic on art history, commentaries by artists themselves, or essays. And they had a varying amount of pages and stuff like that. And you had to read those texts to prepare for the session and also for the test at the end. So what we had to study was the texts as well as the pictures. I did it in a way where I wrote myself a summary alongside reading the text during the semester. So when we had to read about a certain topic, I, while reading, did take notes and did a summary for those texts. I will show that to you later. We also had for every subject, the university provided, or like the art history department provided us these things. They call it Sitzungskommentar, or in English I think it would be commentary on the session we had, where they sort of worked you through the texts and let you know, for example, an order you could read the texts in to make the most sense, and giving you some information as well. That was kind of already a bit of a summary of the most important things mentioned or about that topic. We also had here we had some like keywords of that topic, and also hints towards further reading. We didn't have to do the further reading for the test. Those texts were enough. But if your university doesn't provide you such a thing for each session or each load of text, I would really recommend you to do that, to first look at the text and maybe pick an order how to read those texts, because really that could be very, very helpful for your reading. And I would also recommend you to do your summaries throughout the semester and not just at the end of studying or like in your study phase before the tests. So these are my summaries I made throughout the semester. I looked at the summary not in a way to make it as short as possible, more of to make it as concise as possible, in a way that I wanted to really understand the topic and not just copy things that were in the text, but maybe put them in my own words, try to understand what they are saying, but also using direct quotes from the text, because we were actually tested on direct quotes from the texts. So very important statements, I try to put them first in my own words, but also then let the author of that text speak for themselves, so to say. And I didn't want to shorten it as much as possible, so it would be easier, because then you would maybe gloss over something that you should learn. So don't be scared of writing a bigger summary. Mine were about 7 to 8 pages without the notes from the seminars, class sessions. So yeah, don't be afraid to really elaborate your thoughts on the topics. What I did is I wrote down something about what they said in the so-called Sitzungskommentar in the commentary, and I always did like paragraphs for each author and summarize what they were saying. In the first sort of like sentence, I tried to summarize what their position was in regards to that very specific topic, so I have like a clue of what there is. And at the end, in my study phase, I worked my way through all of those summaries, and also did, as you see, I did that with my laptop. I would recommend doing it digitally, because it's just faster and you can read it also faster. But I also did this sheet for myself where I put the topic we had to study here, and then all the authors and what they said. I tried to make it a bit more colorful, so I am more motivated to read. So I wrote down in pink the subject and the author, and in green I wrote what they were saying. So like one really quick summary of what they were trying to make a point at, or whatever, just like the most important message. So I had that as an overview, and I could go back and sort of go from there in my head and do the rest. I also did this, where I did almost the same thing. I wrote down the topic above, and here I did everyone who was mentioned in that text. So if we had a text by an author and he made different examples, for example, what Leonardo da Vinci had to say about the usage of gold in picture and stuff like that. So I wrote that down as well, so I have an overview. But of course I always went through the whole of the summaries and underlined and marked the most important points, so they stick out to me when I read. so I don't always have to read the whole thing. That's like the first step, underlining and really pointing out what is important. You could also do like the big summaries you did throughout the semester, and then do a more concise version with like handwritten, because for me it helps when I write things out. That's why I did this one. You can always do that depending on how you learn best. And I think if you have to, for me it was more of a thing of passive knowledge, not active knowledge, because I didn't have to write down my answer. It was a multiple choice test, and that sounds easier than it was, but yes, you can always, especially when you have to more passively learn things, do the thing of repeating the subject in whatever way that will help you summarize that and learn that. Now with the pictures, I printed them out and made like little cards with them. You can always also write on the back the name of the painting, but for me that was not too effective, so I just took like the pictures that were provided to us with the description down below. And I think this card system is much more effective than just watching or looking at the pictures on your laptop, or at least it was for me. So I printed them out also alongside the semester and looked at them. So if you have something that is picture related, I would recommend printing them out, as well as if you have to read the text and you have it digitally, because my university really works with like an online learning platform and they put the texts on there, so you can download them and print them out. I would really recommend to print them out, so you can like underline, take notes in the margins, and I think that process already helps a lot with studying that. So yeah, those are just some quick tips. If you have any questions on how I did certain things, please let me know in the description box. I also had to study for popular culture studies test, but that was pretty quick. I just also took notes throughout the lectures, and at the end I studied those and revised those. But you can always ask me about that in the comment section as well. And if you like to see further videos on how I study, please let me know. And yeah, again, if there are any questions, also write them in the description box. And I will see you soon for another video. Bye!